Hello learners, today we are going to discuss about geological fieldwork and sampling. The course is Petrology and the course code is BGYCT 135. Before discussing about the fieldwork and sampling, first let us see the outline of the entire discussion. Initially, we'll discuss about the basics of geological fieldwork and related terminologies. Then, what do we have in a field kit? Then, how to take measurements of geological features in the field. Then, how you document your field observations in the field diary. And what are the safety measures that you are going to take during the field work. And how to write a report. And lastly, we will summarize. This field work, it is a very interesting and a very significant component of geology. And as you know, geology is a field-based science and geological fieldwork is one of the distinctive and compulsory component of any degree program in geology. All the students pursuing undergraduate degree with geology courses, they are instructed to do field work and submit their report to the academic counselor. This is a very important and interesting part of degree program as it provides field training in geology which further makes you to realize its significance in geology. Fieldwork, it begins with the selection of an area and ends with the submission of a well-structured and neatly written field report. In fact, field report reflects the successful completion of your fieldwork. As it is an essential part of the degree with geology courses, your evaluator will evaluate the field report and accordingly awards the grades to you. Indeed, the undertaking of geological fieldwork and preparation of field report are going to be a new and wonderful experience for you and you will really enjoy them. So learners, we have already discussed about the significance of fieldwork in geology courses. Now, I will acquaint you with few terminologies related to fieldwork. Field, what is field? In geology, field means an area from where field data and samples are collected in their natural settings. An outcrop, it represents the portion of the rock exposed on the surface of the earth, and outcrops are mostly exposed along mountains, river valleys, valley walls, nala section, road cuttings, railway cuttings, and tunnels. So, the term outcrop refers to what emerges out. Thus, an outcrop denotes the area on the Earth's surface over which rock mass outcrops and is visible on the surface. You see on your screens, here you see the photograph of an outcrop and geologists are studying this outcrop, taking various readings and noting down the field observations. Now, here you see the outcrop where you have two lithologies. On the left side is basalt and on the right side is gabbro, and in between there is a sheared contact. So this is how you study the field relations between the different lithologies in the field. The contact can be sheared, it can be gradational, and so on and so forth. Now, what is fieldwork? Again, you see on your screens, the geologists, they are working on the outcrop and taking readings. Now, here you see a geologist who is working in the remote area of Himalayan range, that is Sheok Nubra Valley. He is taking some readings on the outcrop. So, fieldwork involves visiting the field, observing the outcrops. exposed in the quarries or mines or along the road cuttings. It involves careful observations and measurements of the geological features on that outcrop. During field work, first of all, we identify different rock types, then their contact relationship between the lithologies, and these observations are carefully documented in the field diary. And then it also involves sampling and precise recording of location of samples for further laboratory investigations. Now, there is another term that the geologists often use. It is traverse. Traverse refers to the path taken by a geologist during the field work in any terrain. Actually, traversed is a planned route or a direction that connects two points, and it passes through a number of locations, outcrops that we study during the field work. So, before going for the field work, we choose the traverse. It is very important for you to note that traverses that are taken along the strike should be avoided because you will encounter the same lithology, and preferably the traverses across the strike should be taken during the field work because here you will encounter maximum variation in diverse rock type, fossil contents. Now, learners, we shall discuss about the significance of geological fieldwork. Actually, geological fieldwork plays a very important role in exploration and exploitation of mineral resources, underground water, building materials, coal, and petroleum resources. Further, it is useful in getting suitable site for engineering projects such as dams, tunnels, bridges, roads, and railway lines. The famous geologist Sir Charles Lyell, he stated, the present is the key to the past, meaning the earth processes that are operating today have operated throughout the earth's history in the geological past. Now, what are specimens and samples? Sampling is an important aspect of geological fieldwork. Actually, samples and specimens are the pieces of rocks, minerals, fossils. They are collected from the outcrop for megascopic study in the laboratory, or they are displayed in a geological museum. They are systematically collected pieces of rocks, mineral ores, or fossils for carrying out further study or analysis in the laboratory. So, further, the laboratory study, it helps in identifying the collected samples as precisely as possible by performing various petrological and chemical analysis. The results of the laboratory studies are useful to correlate the field data with the laboratory findings. So, what should be the size of a specimen or a sample? Actually, it depends on the objectives of the study. For most of the geological analysis, the rock samples of 0.5 kg or 2 kg are recommended. The collected samples and specimen should be very carefully packed in the sampling bags, labeled with location, information, and same information should be carefully documented in the field diary also. Finally, the packed specimen and samples should be safely transported to the laboratory. It is always desirable to take field photographs of those outcrops from where you have collected the sample or specimen. So, the field geology, it involves integration of descriptive, structural, petrological, and even paleontological, spatial, and temporal data in order to know the geological setup and history of the area. It deals with the study of rocks and rock materials in their natural environment and in their natural relations to each other. So, rocks, minerals, soil, sediments, fossil samples, geological maps, cross-section, and structural data and samples are important products of any geological fieldwork, and it is required that they should be very carefully documented in your field diary. You see, the students, they are carrying fieldwork in an area and they are very carefully documenting their observations. So, fieldwork in petrology, it involves visiting field, examining rocks in outcrops, collecting samples, and recording different characters of igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks for understanding their spatial relation and origin. And this information is very significant in the discovery of mineral resources. So, how would you prepare for a petrological fieldwork? Initially, before going for petrological fieldwork, you should collect the literature and the maps. The maps include topographical and geological maps as well as books, published and unpublished papers and reports. These maps will help us in locating outcrops in field and planning traverses. Systematic review of literature should help us in gaining an initial understanding of the geology, such as lithology and their interrelationships and geological structures of the area. So, planning of traverses during the fieldwork, they involve preliminary survey of the area that is executed rapidly and at relatively low cost prior to detailed mapping. The review of existing geological data, it helps us in planning the traverses. We can also take information and access websites like Google Earth or Wikimapia, and the available information helps us in planning the traverses and locating the rock outcrops in the area. And another important aspect related to the field work is that preparation of field schedule and estimated expenditure based on the accessibility, weather condition, duration of field work, field logistic, field equipments, and mode of transportation. It can be jeep, truck, boat, or horse. And getting necessary approvals from the concerned authority before conducting the field work. For actually, summer season is good for undertaking field work in mountainous terrains like Himalaya, while winter season is favorable for conducting field work in peninsular part of India. Field work during rainy season for various reasons is not encouraged. Bookings for tickets via air, rail, road journey, along with the logistic arrangements are done before proceeding for the field work. Field equipments, they form a very necessary component of the field work. So let us see what field equipments are required during the field work. Look at your screens. They show you the field equipments required for a field work. Geological and topographical maps, satellite images of the area, geological hammer and chisel, hand lenses, clinometer, GPS, haversack and sample bags, measuring tape, field notebook and masking tape, marker pen, pencil erasers, etc., camera, acid bottle, safety clothing, and first aid kit. See, before you carry the field, it is very important for you to know the safety measures required. Many times you can do field work in inhospitable and inaccessible terrains or in remote areas under extreme weather conditions. You may encounter risks and hazards during field work. So, you should have detailed information about the field plan in advance, and you should know who to contact during the case of emergency. Submit your day-to-day plan to the in charge in your base camp so that you can be contacted anytime. Avoid conducting field work alone in inhospitable terrains. If you are going in a virgin area, consult any senior person who have visited the area. Avoid doing field work in dangerous areas like cliffs, steep slope, mudslide regions, snow avalanche zones, slippery and loose rocks, and surfaces covered with boulders. Always wear a helmet for safety in mines, quarry, caves, cliffs, or in area where there is a risk of falling rocks. Always wear impact-resistant safety goggles while hammering tough rocks or using chisels for breaking rocks. Be aware of dangerous animals and insects in the field area. Carry basic emergency equipment like first aid kit, whistle, torch, drinking water, mobile phone, food, and contact information required during for emergency services. Carry your identity proof. And another thing very important is that you should behave politely with the local people, and you can also hire people who can help you out or accompany you during the field work. Now we will discuss about the data collected during the petrological field work. In the field work, you encounter different types of rocks. So it is very important for you to know what kind of rocks are there. That is identification of the rock, collection of the rock samples that you required for detailed megascopic study in the laboratory. And you also require to collect the structural data. You need to collect the data required to know the attitude of rocks and structure preserved in the outcrops. Now we come to the identification of igneous rocks. Now how would you identify igneous rocks in the field? You can do that by observing their color, texture, structure, and mineralogy. For example, granite, which is a plutonic rock, it can be identified by its light color, coarse grain texture, mineralogy that comprises of quartz, feldspar, and mica. Pegmatite is a hyperbasal rock similar in composition to granite, but it has got very large crystals more than 3 centimeters. And basalt is a dark-colored rock. It is fine-grained and volcanic rocks, and you get lava flow structures. You can also get columnar joints. You can see in the photograph, see the igneous rocks, they have got interlocking texture which can be identified on the outcrop. The middle picture shows you granite, coarse grain texture, and the lowermost right photograph shows you columnar jointing present in basalt. Now here you see photograph of gabbro. It's a coarse grained rock you get in plutonic conditions, and the mineralogy is plagioclase and clinopyroxene. Now, how to identify sedimentary rocks in the field? You know, sedimentary rocks are layered rocks. And you see in the photograph on the right side, you see layering with the rock. And they have been classified based on their texture and structure as clastic rocks and non-clastic rocks. Sedimentary structures are also very important in the identification of sedimentary rocks. You get stratification. Stratification means layering. You get layers of sediments. And if the layers of sediments if the layers in a sedimentary rocks are thicker than 1 centimeter, they are known as beds. And layers thinner than 1 centimeter are called laminations. And laminations are typically composed of fine-grained silt and clay-size sediments. Further, you see in this photograph, you see laminations and down below, and then above you see thick beds and cross bedding. And in the lower right photograph, you see ripple marks. These structures are very commonly found in clastic or non-clastic sedimentary rocks. Now you see laminations in beach sand deposit. They are less than 1 centimeter in thickness. Now here you see the outcrop of sandstone which is showing cross-bedding structure. These structures are very significant in understanding the formation of the rock types and the conditions under which the rock was formed. See, the clastic rocks can be identified based on the grain size and the texture. If you get the coarse grain size that is more than 2 millimeter, we call it as conglomerate. You see the photograph. And if the grain size is between 1/16 to 2 millimeter, we call it as sandstone. And if it is between 1/16 to 1/256 millimeter, it is known as siltstone. And if it is less than 1/256 millimeter, it is very fine, we call it as mudstone. Now you see how you can identify the clastic rocks based on their grain size, grain shape, texture, structure, and mineral composition. The left side photograph is conglomerate, rounded pebbles, and the right side photograph is breccia with angular class. And this is the photograph showing you limestone. When you go to the field, you can perform acid test. You can pour a drop of dilute hydrochloric acid, and this causes effervescence in a carbonate rocks. So by this you can identify a carbonate rocks. You can also get fossiliferous limestone in the outcrop. You see how nicely the molluscan shells have been preserved. These are trace fossils in sandstone. Now how you measure the thickness of the beds in an outcrop? It can be measured directly by placing the measuring tape right angles to the bedding plane, and like this you will get true thickness. Then you can prepare a litholog of the lithologies you encounter. It has to be made to the scale based on the thickness of the individual bed. Here you see the photograph as I have explained you. Now lastly we come to the identification of metamorphic rocks. The identification of metamorphic rocks is also done based on their texture, structure, mineralogy, and grain size. The left side photograph is slate. You can recognize slate in the field by its very fine-grained texture, layered structure, and well-developed cleavage and presence of mica. On the right side, you see phyllite. The mica minerals are very nicely developed along the foliation planes. Now here you see on the right side, gneiss. Gneiss is a medium metamorphic rock. It exhibits gneissosity wherein you get layering or bands or lenses of minerals such as quartz, feldspar, and they alternate with the platy minerals such as mica. On the left side, you see schists. They commonly exhibit foliation and cystosity due to the parallel arrangement of grains or platy minerals such as muscovite and biotite. It is very important for you to take field sketches and photographs. You know, one photograph is equal to 1,000 words, and it is the best way of recording and conveying geological information. You can make sketches of outcrops, rock formation, fossils, minerals, or geological structures like fold and faults or some sedimentary structure. They provide important evidence for observation recording during the field work. And the professional geologists, they use the combination of photographs and sketches for geological investigations. You see the outcrop of a very nicely developed fold on your screens, and geologists are taking structural measurements in the field. Here you see two field sketches from the diary of first national professor, late Professor D.N. Wadia, the first Indian to receive the honor of Fellow of Royal Society of London. You see the sketches? How nicely the field observations have been documented. So the careful documentations of field information is essential part of field work because they are the permanent source of field record. Field notebook is a single most important field tool because it contributes the foundation of your conclusions, and you can consider it as an academic diary because it records all your observations, ideas and interpretations and questions during the field work. So what should you document in as your field observations? You should note the lithologies, relationship between various rock types, textural, structural, composition, characters of the rocks, fossil contents, sketches of outcrops, measurements of structural elements, and stratigraphic columns. It also contains details of sampling site. You should also record the weather conditions, whom you met, lodging, because all this information will be important when you plan for future field trips. Write your name, address, email, and the persons you contacted, whom you contacted. And now, learners, let us summarize what we discussed. We discussed about the basics of the geological fieldwork. We introduced you to the terminologies related to geological fieldwork, importance of geological fieldwork, criteria of identification of various rock types in the field, documentation of field features in the field diary. I hope you found it interesting and you have enjoyed. Thank you.